What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Yeah. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghost in the attic, yeah, show me the proof. Aliens creeping, they light in the roof. Minds wide open, we shatter the booth. Conspiracies deep, we dig in the scars. Demons and angels and bodies on Mars. Cryptids be watching, they lurk in the dark. Mental on edge, but we glowing like stars. Welcome to the pod, no cap, it's a seance. Whispers in the static, spirits doing dance. Reptiles in suits, yeah, running the lands. MK Ultra made a puppet of your mans. Wendigo hunger, dogman strut, flat woods, eyes glow. Slice through the cut, Bigfoot tagging trees. Marking the trail, weird ones ride, no room for the frail. Talking about trauma, talking that soul. Peeling back layers, we dig in a hole. Sacred geometry, numbers align. Ancestors speak through the veil and the sign. Ayahuasca dreams, third eye lit. Shadow self lurking, we making it spit. No mainstream lies. This the dirt where the weird ones rise from the blood and the hurt. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghosts in the attic, yeah, show me the proof. Aliens creeping, they light in the roof. Minds wide open, we shatter the booth. Conspiracies deep, we dig in the scars. Demons and angels and bodies on Mars. Cryptids be watching, they lurk in the dark. Mental on edge, but we glowing like stars. Voices in the woods got chills on the neck. Black-eyed kids at the door, now we check. CIA tapped in, fluoride drip. Project Bluebeam, watch that script. Talking about grief, talking about fear. Talking about why them voices appear. Healing the mind while breaking the chain. Spiritual warfare deep in the brain. We don't run from the strange, we live in the strange. Tattoo the truth and the scars and the pain. Stay weird, the mantra we own in the name. Reality bends, so we bend to the same. From the attic to the swamp, we tracking the freak. Where the veil get thin and the silence speak. We ain't your norm, we off that grid. Weird as the wave, yo, this where we live.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with a lovely lady by the name of Lynette Albert. She is a medium. She's a fantastic person. I really enjoyed having this conversation with her. And I'm definitely going to be having her back at some point. Um, but yeah, it was a nice conversation. Anyways, quick shout out to the sponsor, Flavors of the Forest, Bigfoot's Breath. Go get you some. Flavorsforest.com. It is really tasty. I enjoy it. I put it on just about everything. And I think you'll enjoy it too. It's way better than any garlic powder you're gonna get at the store. I put my name on it. I put my name on it. Um, Also look, I have a new chair and it swivels and it rocks and it is so much more comfortable. Um, and now I'm not like sitting way up here and you can see everything behind me, which not that you really care to see it. I don't know. That's if you watch on YouTube. But also quick shout out to my buddy Johnny Nitro. He's got a company, Wild Beauty. They have Buck Rub as well, which so the stuff that I have is a whipped tallow moisturizer, and they have a bunch of other stuff like chapstick and whole bunch of whole bunch of stuff. So check them out at wildbeautyproducts.com. Um, Pretty much this one's pretty much done. But anywho, if you're out there and you're struggling with your mental health, please, here in the United States, dial 988 with any of your mental distress needs, and they can give you the resources and help you out. And or just be an ear, be somebody that you can talk to. It's almost like a therapist, you know? They're trained for it and they're there to help. So utilize them because we don't need you transferring your trauma to somebody else. Listen, I know it's hard out there. I know there's a lot of things that might knock you down and it might seem like it's the end of the world, but to somebody else, you not being here is the end of the world. So, You will leave a hole and you will be missed, I can promise you that. Even if you feel like nobody's gonna miss you, even if you feel like nobody cares about you, somebody does. You just don't realize it. So, stay another day. You can quit when I quit, and I'm not gonna quit. So, um, yeah, that is that. I got my book here. You guys might be able to see it if you're watching the video. Um, The Adventures of Rizzo and Weird Son. It's on Amazon if you're interested in picking that up. And if you do so, please take a couple seconds to leave a rating and review. I would greatly appreciate it. If you want to be on this show and you want to talk about, conspiracies, your own supernatural experiences, spirituality, mental health, all that stuff. Whatever you want to talk about, just let me know and we can set something up. Hit me up. My email is where the weird ones are at gmail.com. You can also get me on Instagram where underscore the weird ones are. You can also reach out on the website. The website is where the weird ones are podcast.com. If you don't know that already, now you do. If you've been listening, you already know that anyway. If you're interested in leaving a rating and review for the show, I would greatly appreciate that. It takes a couple seconds to do so, but not the end of the world. If you decide not to, that's totally fine. I'm just glad that I have your ear and you're here, um, and that you're alive and that hopefully you're thriving. Hopefully you're finding success in your life. And if you're not, I hope that it finds you soon and shortly. I know there's seasons, right? I mean, I'm for me for sure. There's definitely a bunch of seasons, and sometimes it can last a week, sometimes it can last a month. Um, but sometimes I mean, I'm hard on myself all the time anyway. I have like this wicked imposter syndrome. So the more people that are like telling me that I'm good and I'm doing good and stuff like that, the less I believe it. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's just how I feel. And, it probably all obviously bleh, probably stems from my childhood, you know, something I got to work on. Um, so I forget where I was going with that. I was just talking, I guess. Maybe it just felt like it was on my heart to discuss with you guys in this intro. Yeah, I just know. Oh yeah, I was talking about. So there, like, sometimes I feel super successful, and then other times I'm just like, oh, man, I'm not doing enough. I'm not. I got to do more or whatever, and I'm not as good as people are telling me, and I'm not as good as I think that I am sometimes. And then there's days where I'm just like, I'm the fucking best. I'm the fucking man. I fucking got this shit, and it flip flops, and that's probably not unique to me. I'm sure a lot of people go through that from time to time. So, I don't know. I just felt like that was on my heart to say. And I just want you to know that even if you don't feel successful in this moment, there's so many things that um measure success. You have great kids, that's successful. You're spending time with your kids, that's success. In my eyes anyway. It doesn't really necessarily mean that you have a shit ton of money or anything like that. That's making it to another day. That's success. Not watching porn for another day. That's success. Staying off your phone a little bit more and paying attention to your fucking kids and where you're driving. That's success. Another day? I didn't look at my phone. Cool. Um, anyways, I think that's all I gotta say. Sorry for talking your ears off. Um, but yeah, Lynette, amazing person. If you guys are interested, she tells you where to go, and her where to go is also gonna be in the um show notes. So you can find her on Facebook if you're interested in getting a reading or, chatting with her and picking her brain and stuff like that. So, again, amazing person. Um, really enjoyed chatting with her, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to do so. So, anyways, let's get into the show with Lynette, shall we? Where the weird ones go Productions. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. So happy to have you here. Today I have a lovely guest. Her name's Lynette Albert, and she is a medium, and we're going to talk all about medium stuff. For those of you who know that I've had a few mediums on, and I've become friends with a lot of them, and I think the world of mediumship is super fascinating. So I'm super excited to have this conversation today. And Lynette, if you don't mind, letting all the good people out there know a little bit about yourself and what it is you do.
Absolutely, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it. This is wonderful to be here. But yes, my name is Lynette Albert, and I've been around this type of thing ever since I was a young girl. It was just always a part of my life, and it's just always been very normal, I guess, to me. And so I've been very fortunate in that. And I basically just speak to those who have crossed over, loved ones, animals, everything that is crossed over. It's like a conduit, just kind of help communicate and bridge that gap between the loved ones that are here and the loved ones that are on the other side. And that's basically all I'll do to help heal the ones that are living.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. Death is obviously a part of life, and it has never not been.
Right. No,
Um,
exactly. Exactly.
but
And then that's the whole point of this is to help
yeah.
people deal with that process for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, you know, I've had a few people pass in my life, and there's only been one in my life that has been super significant. And it is hard. It is hard to. I do think that he did try and reach out at one point just to let me know things are okay, and it was a few years later. But like I don't know if it was him. I just have this like when it happened, I just have this like weird sensation that it was him. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to explain, and
Yeah.
for a lot of people, it probably won't
Yeah.
understand, but it was just like a sense of knowing.
It
Um,
is. And that's
you know,
exactly what it is. Yep. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool. I was still scared. I was, I was scared that it was happening. I mean, the listeners probably, I mean, a lot of the people that have been listening for a while now probably know the story, but I was just laying in bed one morning and not quite ready to get out of bed. I was awake. And then I just feel like this pressure on my bed next to my feet, like somebody was sitting on my bed.
Oh,
And my dog had looked up and then put her head
yes.
back down. And I was
Yes.
it was just like she knew who it was.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and then I just got
Yeah,
this
that's
sense.
amazing. That's
Yeah, I just got
fantastic.
this sense of like everything's gonna be okay. And then I was like, it was my uncle. And then I laid there in like a paralysis state. I wasn't in paralysis. I could move. I just didn't want to. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then by the time I moved, I was like, everything's okay. But
Oh, good for
um,
you. Isn't that wonderful? That's such a gift when they do that.
yes, yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, he was probably the one person in my one male role model that I looked up to in my entire life.
Hmm.
Um, and if I could be even half of what he was, I'd be happy.
Oh, well, yeah. So that's a beautiful, beautiful experience to have. And I think a lot of people do experience things, but they're not sure. They question it
Hmm.
because we as human beings, we're so, we always don't trust things that we get, and I think that's part of the problem too. Just trust that that is from them, a sign from them. It could be anything. But that experience that you had is beautiful. Good for you, Kevin. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. So, one question I did have for you was what, when did you realize that you had the gift and that you would be able to help people?
So, one thing I do like to say is everybody on earth is capable of doing this. It's not like some people are chosen to do this. We
Mhm.
all can do this. It's just whether you want to break down those walls and accept that you can and work on it and practice it. Anybody can do it. Okay. But anyway, to answer your question, um, I think what really drew me to it, and I've mentioned this before, is years and years and years ago, a good friend of mine, his sister died tragically in this horrible car accident. And I was asleep one night. And at that time, I slept on my stomach a lot. So, anyway, I'm in a dead sleep. And when you get that feeling that somebody's standing behind you, or you can feel that there's something else in the room with you, another presence, another person, it could be any. Okay. So, I felt that. And I pushed myself up and looked right over to the doorway of my bedroom, and there she was standing. And she had a message for me to give to her brother, and because they were very close. And at that point, I was like, I can't ignore this type of connection and this that I have. So I just worked on it more from there. And at that time, I opened up like a new age metaphysical store. I started giving readings. All kinds of bizarre things would happen when I would do readings. And, like one time I was giving a reading and there were books on the other side of the room. And a book flew off the shelf and dropped down in the middle. I know, it was really bizarre. I couldn't believe it.
Oh,
And I said to this lady, I said, that book is meant for you. And so I gave her, that book. And but but that is, and I just started taking off from there. And I just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And here I am today.
wow. That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
that's a man, I wish books would fly off the shelf for me and be like I could be like, wow, that's meant for me to read or something like that's meant to send me a message.
Well, it was kind of startling because the
I
bookstore, it
bet.
was closed and it was just her and I. And so it was very startling, but it was great. It was great. All different types of things can happen. You just never know. Signs are everywhere for us to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they're so cryptic in a way. I've heard so many stories of people and then the like the trials and tribulations that they took upon themselves to to figure out those messages is it's fascinating and interesting at the same time. It's almost like the other side can't quite 100% give us exact answers or exact ways or like
Right.
exact wording and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it comes off like, extremely cryptic sometime.
Well,
Eh,
I try to explain to people because when we cross over, on the other side, they are learning as well how
mhm.
to give us signs. And so, and I tell people, just because someone has died does not mean that relationship has stopped. It continues on. It's just you have to learn a different way of communicating. And so, it could be very simple. It doesn't have to be cryptic. It could be like it could be rainbows, it could be a bird, it could be maybe your uncle or someone, your father or grandfather used to smoke cigars and you smell a cigar, that type of thing.
Mhm.
Just keep it simple and just trust what you get and act on it.
Yeah. Um, so you had a ton of experiences as a little girl, you stated in the
Yeah.
beginning. So if you don't mind, you don't have to like tell us everything that ever happened to you throughout your entire life, but if you recall like the very first weird, strange thing that
Okay.
happened to you?
So this was I was young. I wasn't even really a teenager yet. I think I was around 12. And I was in my bedroom. It was late at night. And this is after my stepfather had died. And I didn't know about signs. I don't know where this came for me, but I thought, oh my God, wouldn't that be cool if I could ask him to give me a sign that he's here? So I did this all night long. So I'm sitting in bed, and at that time, I lived, the house was actually right up against a street, and there was a light there, but it was pretty late, and it wasn't a real busy street. So I said, okay, and his name was Jack. I said, Jack, have a car beep, its horn to let me know that you're here. And within 15 seconds, 30 seconds, the car beeped, right? And I'm like, oh my
Whoa.
God, this is so exciting. I'm a little girl, I'm like all excited. And then I said, okay, let's do it again. And I kept doing it, and he kept doing it, and kept doing it. And I couldn't believe it because the street's not busy. And but I just thought it was just so incredible. And I started getting goosebumps. I'm like, this is so exciting. And then I just kind of took it from there. Okay, I was like, what else can we do? What else can we do? And so I learned, and I don't even know, when I was young, I don't even know how I learned about signs or anything like that. But I must have just known or inadvertently heard about it. I don't know. But it was really exciting because I was just this little girl sitting in my pajamas in my bed late at night trying to talk to somebody that has died. So
That
that was a big thing. And I think that got me pretty excited knowing that, oh my God, there is still a connection to somebody that you don't physically see. You know what I mean? So,
oh
and
yeah.
I would, my mom's friend at the time, one of her best friends at the time, she was an astrologer. She did astrology, and, very esoteric and stuff. And I was always just amazed by all of that. And so I had a really strong connection with her, and my mother had this a little bit. And it was just fascinating. It was just completely around it so much. And anyway, I just played around with it. And that's what I tell people to do. Play around with it. Just see what you can get, see what you want to do. My mom now, she sends me rainbows as a sign.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's pretty profound. Sometimes the signs are pretty profound, and sometimes they're not, so yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
fast. That for a first experience, that is
I
amazing.
know, right? And I didn't want to play too much into it, but it was. And then I was like, well, but I kept doing it because, of course, there's going to be a car that's going to beep at some point. But I
Yeah.
kept doing it, and it was just very exciting to
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have throughout your life, did you have any like experiences that may have scared you or were a little terrifying?
me. No, no,
Okay.
just sometimes I will clean energy out of people's homes if they think that they're haunted homes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just spirits that are stuck, and sometimes you don't even know that you're dead. So I assist them in crossing over, but sometimes there can be a dark energy there.
Hmm.
That's not the nicest. But sometimes I get startled. I know one time I was sitting with a close friend of mine, and we were talking about this kind of stuff. And in the bathroom, a brush out of nowhere just dropped onto the floor and broke and just shattered out of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird because in order for it to shatter, you'd have to really throw that down, like for it to like break into pieces. It was so like something like that, a startle or something, but not anything that has terrified me or scared me, thankfully, because I try to protect myself all the time with positivity.
Good, good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, because I know a lot of people they like to hear the terrifying stuff and like
Right.
that, and as humans, we a lot of people don't like to admit it, but we like being scared, and I don't know what
I
really it
know.
is
I
that is about.
know.
Um,
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I've had terrifying situations throughout my life, but a lot of times, especially lately, the more that I talk about the paranormal and stuff like that, and possibilities of the other side, I kind of think about it as like the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, where they
Yes,
don't know how much energy they need to put into something, and sometimes they put too much, so it comes
that's
across as
true.
being thrown
That's
or being
exactly right.
punched or something
That's
like that.
exactly right. That is exactly right. Sometimes, yeah, their energy can be very strong, and sometimes their energy is not. And they a lot of times like to use electricity because it's an easy thing to manipulate. They use
Mhm.
that to help with energy and things like that. But you're right, Kevin. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I hear so many stories about like the scratching and the slapping and the pulling of the hair. And I'm
Hmm.
almost like, well, what if they're just like trying to play with your hair and they put too much energy into it and they're grabbing it and like pulling on it or punching you across the face or punching you in the shoulder when they're just trying to be like, hey man, I'm right here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, but what's interesting is the feeling that you get. You will always know what is positive and what is not positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
types of interactions like that. You'll always know, you know.
Yeah. Um, so what kind of like I guess what's the freaking word? Pointers or advice. There we go. When I'm recording, words escape me for some reason and I forget the words. And so what kind of advice would you give somebody who wants to try and test out their mediumship
Or,
abilities?
okay, so I tell people this all the time. So I think the biggest blockage that we have is trusting what we get. Because I'll
Right.
talk to clients or talk to people that I give readings to, and I can see if they are see things in the peripheral vision, in our house move. But they don't trust it. They look and there's nothing there. But they don't maybe connect the dots, or they just think that I don't know, something moved or something. And I'll let them know, no, this is a way that they're trying to reach you. And so recognize what's around you. Start to open up to it and bring it in, allow it in, and act on it. And have full blown conversations with them, okay? Because they're there, they're with you, they hear you, they're around you, they want to help you in life, not just people that have died, but angels and spirit guides and everybody else in the realm over there. They want to help you out and they are just waiting for you to ask for their help. And so have a full blown conversation. Say, listen, mom, I need a sign from you. Let's make it a cardinal, and start that way. And then once you start believing what you're seeing, sometimes people hear things in their head. Sometimes they'll be walking around somewhere and they think they hear somebody calling their name and they look around and there's nobody there. These are different ways, different signs. Maybe a certain song comes on. You're in the middle of Walmart and all of a sudden you hear this song that reminds you of them, or it was their favorite song, or something like that. These are different ways that they are reaching out to let you know. And like I said, we can all do this. Some people can see things better than others. Some people can hear things. Some people can feel, different. We all have strengths and weaknesses in all of this, and nobody's better than the other. It's just all differently done. And just like a wave, every wave in the ocean is completely different, but it's the ocean. It's all together. It's all the same thing. It's all going towards the same thing. So, I just tell people to open yourself up to it and just practice with it. Go back and forth with it. See what you get. And it'll continue to grow. And then maybe you'll feel like sometimes, like if a loved one, sometimes a person that is still living might feel their loved one holding them when they're sleeping, like being held, but they don't want to really believe it. And so I tell them, no, that's them. Believe what you're getting. And then once you believe that and crack that wall down, boy, things can really start to happen. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, I
Yeah,
would have to agree with you on that.
yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds amazing.
yeah.
There's times where I think that, I'm a little more intuitive than I like to admit, but I'm not
Yes,
not and I think that might be possibly why I felt my uncle, you know what I mean?
yes.
Um, but did say in the beginning too that you talk to animals, and I don't really hear, or that you get messages from animals, I should say, not that you actually talk to them. But I wanted to, so I've heard of one other gentleman who can talk to passed on or get messages from passed on pets and whatnot. So I wanted to ask you, what was that, like a shock to you when the first time you ever got a message
So,
from a pet?
okay, so let me tell you, Kevin. Um, when I opened up my metaphysical new age store early in the 90s, I started getting into animal communication, with communicating with your animals that are alive. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, and also here's the thing. Um, Communicating with anything that's alive and communicating with anything that has crossed over, it's the same thing. All it
Hmm.
is energy, the telepathy. It's all energy. It's all, that's all it is. It's like, and I try to explain to people, it's exactly like a radio station where there's different dials. You have to tune in to a different frequency, tune into a different wavelength, and you can connect with each living creature, dead creature, the whole thing. And so I started really opening up to that and using that as well, the animal communication with animals that are alive. And it's no different than talking to animals that have crossed over. It's the same exact thing. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Okay. That's
yeah.
interesting. Um, I wish so there are days that I wish that my dogs could talk. And that, I mean, there's a level of understanding, obviously, as
Right,
being a
right,
pet
right,
owner. Like
right.
you kind of can pick up on what they want as at a basic level anyway.
Hmm.
But I think it would be amazing to have a full on conversation with my dogs.
It's very interesting, and I'll tell you, again, it's all in that trust. I remember back when I was trying to learn how to communicate with animals and stuff, and I would go to workshops and read books on it and all that type of thing. And it's interesting how we create these blocks. We as human beings, we just create these barriers, and this is something we've always all can do. It's just we've forgotten how to do it or forgotten how to connect to it.
Hmm.
And I'll never forget the first time I heard it was my cat talk to me. And I was so excited. And I got home from work. I was really, really tired. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm filing my nails. And she comes over and she's sitting on the floor and she looks up at me and she says, "I'm so glad you're home." And I said, "Oh, me too." And I was like, "Oh my God."
That's amazing.
I heard you. I was so excited I couldn't stand it. So again, it can come to you quickly, or maybe you have to just work with it. But just try it. Try and just like especially when they're looking at you, they're saying something to you. And
Yeah.
so, they're trying to get your reaction. And they try so hard to communicate with us in so many different ways. And they understand what we're saying. And but it's just being able to hear the words to each other. And then you'll start to pick up on different personalities of the animals. It's really it's adorable. I love it. I just love
That
it.
is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh man, I'd probably freak out too, the same exact way if I ever
yeah.
like was to look and be able to actually like
Yes,
interpret words.
yes, yes.
Um, but have you through with all the mediumship abilities that you're honing in on and practicing, have you ever been able to astral project at all, like leave your body?
You know, I did when I was a young girl. I did a
Mm-hmm.
lot when I was a young girl. However, I haven't done it where I can consciously do it. I'm practicing it because you can consciously astral project where you will remember and you know what's going on. You're not dreaming, you're not asleep. You're consciously still awake and you are leaving your body. I'm practicing that now as we speak. And but I did a lot when I was a girl, when I was a young girl. And I remember flying down the streets of the street that I was living on. And I remember flying by or right underneath street lights. I just remember the street lights and looking down, things like that. But yeah, I am practicing the conscious awareness of astrally projecting.
Nice, nice. Because one of the things that fascinates me about that. So I was watching. Have you seen the movie Black Phone?
No, I haven't. Is it
All
good?
right. It was actually surprisingly really good. So basically, in within the movie, it shows that um this kid's sister has, the capability of um she gets messages through her dreams. And then the
Hmm.
police start asking her questions because kids are going missing and stuff like that. And so she can see the other side. And then her brother gets abducted. And then he's talking to ghosts while he's abducted and stuff, and they're trying to help him. And then she's astral projecting to where he's his abduction place and stuff like that. And I'm just
Yes.
like, this is
Yeah.
really freaking interesting. Like, so, like,
Yeah.
obviously, like, uh, when I first watched the trailer, I was thinking that it was just like a regular like abduction horror where the kid had to get out of it. And then
Yeah.
it's like it's more of a supernatural kind of thing, which not really supernatural either, because people can actually astral project and stuff like that, and it can actually talk to people who have passed on.
Hmm.
So um yeah, so while I was watching this last night, I was like, you can communicate with people who have passed on. So that's why I ask it, because she could, and then she's astral projecting as well.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't think I personally have ever astral projected. If I did, it was an accident and I don't remember. But I have always been fascinated with astral projecting and being able to see things where you're not present at.
Well, a lot of
Um,
times when you're sleeping, you do leave your body and go
yeah,
on to different realms and things like that. And you do receive messages from, the other side, things like that. And sometimes we just don't remember when we wake up.
hmm
Um, you know, it's amazing. It's because everything, all of it is just energy. Everything is energy. The chair you're sitting on is energy. The laptop is energy. Everything is energy. And so it's just being able to shift into, I don't want to go too deep into this, but shift into a different reality, into a different realm, and I don't know, access all that. But we've just been brought up to shut these things out. Like when kids are young and they have an imaginary friend,
yeah,
nine times out of 10, they're probably talking to a spirit that's there, or it's something that is
yeah,
there, a loved one's that's there. But then, we as parents or something, the parents, oh, that's just your imaginary friend. And so you almost get taught to not believe that that's what you're seeing. And I always try to tell people, watch your kids, watch your toddler, animals. If they're staring at something or they're barking at like the wall or corner or something, they're interacting with something there. So, I always try to tell people to embrace that with their animals, with their kids, that whole thing, and don't let them lose that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was looking for this book called The Hermetica. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Um, or the Hermeticus. I had it, but I have it, so it's probably upstairs because that's probably the last place I had it when I read it. Um, yeah, it's gonna be
What,
upstairs. But
what's it about?
it's an ancient, not ancient, but it's was written um right around the time of of Jesus and everything going down, like all the like during the Bible times.
Right.
and it was written by, they called themselves the four, oh shoot, I can't remember now. But anyway, so it's basically about life as a vibration. So you're saying everything's
Yes.
energy, they're saying
Right.
everything's vibration, which is essentially the
Vibration.
same thing.
Right. Right. Right.
Um so I found that, reading that, extremely fascinating because it's like biblical language too.
Yeah.
Um and so it was, so when you're saying that, it just instantly made me think of that book, and I think it's I think it's a good book to read because yes, I do believe everything's vibration.
Yeah.
And you can give off, that's why people, like, I feel like that's where the new age thing came, like, oh, it's not like, I don't it's not my vibe or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And and whether people realize it or not, like, you're picking up on a vibration. That's why you don't vibe with certain people,
Right.
because you're picking up on a vibration that you don't like, and that your spirit is like, dude, this isn't cool, let's get away, let's get
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
let's leave this
Yeah.
situation.
See, it's
But
just, yeah.
so there's a comedian, you might know who he is. His name's Theo Vaughn, and I bring him up almost all the time when I get onto this kind of thoughts, kind of conversation, where it's
Uh-huh.
like things that we used to be able to do that we are done, that people aren't really doing now. And he was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and
Oh, I love
he's
him. Again.
yeah, he's me too. He said, "Do you think that the wind is trying to tell us something we don't know how to hear anymore?" And Joe just goes, "No." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And then they just move on. And like he didn't, like, he just like
Wow.
passed it off like he was joking, but I think he was being 100%
That was deep.
serious. Yeah, because
Oh
yeah,
my God.
and Joe Rogan just kind of like shut it down, and I don't know if Joe Rogan even realized it in that
What
moment.
he was,
Yeah,
wow. Do you think the wind is trying to tell us something? Is that what he said?
yes. Yeah,
That's really neat. Oh
yeah.
my
And
God. Yeah, that's
he's like,
pretty deep.
so I was like, I wonder sometimes if the wind is trying to tell us something and we just can't hear it anymore.
Exactly. 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 We as humans, we have just put a stop and put an end to a lot of this. Like I tell people, like there's like sometimes I'll give a reading and somebody will say, I was standing out in the backyard and this beautiful wind blew right through me, but the trees and the leaves weren't moving, nothing was moving. And see, just because they connected it like that, shows them and makes them feel, oh my God, this is something different, I'm being given a message. So the message might not have actual words to it to hear, but it's a connection, it's a message, it's something being given to you. So yeah, that's pretty neat. I like that.
Yeah. We were also, so a couple of buddies of mine, and we were out camping and looking for Bigfoot, or I
Mm-hmm.
guess,
Yeah.
essentially. And we walked up to this clearing. It's the middle of the night. It had to be like close to midnight, and I could hear the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't feel the wind, but I could hear it. And then only one tree, literally, we're surrounded by trees, and there's only one tree that the leaves are moving in. And
Wow.
I'm like, I looked at my buddy Drew, and I was like, why is that one tree moving? And he like he turned his light on and like went around the base of the tree. There's nothing there. And then as he's doing that, all of a sudden that one tree's moving, and then a couple of trees next to it start moving. And
Ooh,
then that was it.
wow.
It wasn't the whole woods. It was
See,
just that little section.
and you would know if Bigfoot was moving it. You would be able to tell.
Right.
You'd be able to
Right.
hear that. But see, when you have like wind like that, where you don't even hear it, like you just see it moving like that, that is also something that is there trying to get your attention for a
Hmm.
reason, for you to even connect to that, even have that thought. So yeah, that's pretty neat. That's really
It
neat
was
when you experience that. Yeah.
I wish I wish I was recording it at the time too, to be honest with you, because I had my camera with me, and I was trying to be we were trying to be quiet. So every time I turn my phone my camera on, it goes really loud.
Oh,
So
right, right,
I
right.
didn't want to turn it on in that moment, just in case something was there, like a Bigfoot possibly. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
but I wanted to, because so my thoughts on Bigfoot and stuff is like the interdimensional, and possibly he might even just be a spirit, but can manifest himself into being physical, which is why a lot of people get like the physical attributes, like the footprints.
Right.
They might get hairs or whatever, and they see him
Yeah, yeah,
physically.
yeah.
So I was wanted to from a medium's perspective, your thoughts on Bigfoot in the phenomenon.
It's so funny because all of my life I have believed in Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, aliens. I mean, it could be anything. And I believed in it because I always knew that it's not just us. And so I have been and I love watching all those documentaries about Bigfoot and all of Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them. And the one, what's that one? It looks like a bird. I can't remember what it's called.
Thunderbird or Mothman?
Mothman. That's the other one. And anyway, so my understanding, this is what I've been getting, is that Bigfoot does exist, but goes in and out of different realities. And that's all I've been able to get is that it is actually going in and out of different realities. And that's all I got. So, but yeah, I definitely believe in Bigfoot and all of that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's just so many stories of possible like UFOs or
Oh, all of that.
ghosts. It's like spirits and stuff when people
Yes.
have Bigfoot experiences. And I was,
Oh my gosh.
and I have friends, and I have good friends that are like, if Bigfoot's real, he's just a animal that has been able to avoid detection. And I'm just like, I don't
No.
know if there's a lot of
No.
evidence
Yeah.
to it,
Exactly.
to a
Yeah.
Bigfoot, and for us not to have found it by now
Right.
just is kind of weird. So it makes me
Right.
feel like it's more spiritual than
Yeah.
physical. Not
Yeah.
saying that he can't show himself physically, but
Right. Right. No, I agree. I mean, there's so many people that have witnessed Bigfoot. And I think because it's becoming more mainstream, people are allowing themselves to talk about their experiences because for so many years, you don't talk about that because people are going to think you're crazy. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. My buddy Harley Owens, when he was in high school, had a um or right after high school, one or the other, he had an encounter of what he thinks is a Bigfoot. And he told people, he's like, I didn't believe in, he's like, I don't believe in Bigfoot, but I saw something that looks like it could be Bigfoot. And then just
Yeah.
people started, just talking about him and
Yeah.
gossiping and
Hmm.
telling him he's crazy and ridiculing him. I mean, he even got it from
Exactly.
his own family. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a shame. I know. And so a lot of people are quiet, even with seeing aliens or anything that they experience that's not normal, they're afraid to talk about it.
mhm.
But I think because a lot of these documentaries and YouTube videos and people that are doing podcasts and like you are reaching and getting this out more, people feel more comfortable talking about it more because there's more of an acceptance for all of this.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
It was my son that got my dude. So my son had not only has got me interested in Bigfoot, but he also has got me into reading the Bible and
Mm-hmm.
trying to create this relationship with God or Jesus or
Mm-hmm.
whoever it may be. But so when he was like 6 years old or so, some in that range of 5 to 8 years old, he was watching Finding Bigfoot, and he
Yeah.
was wicked into it. And I remember coming home one day, either from work or something, and he was watching it, and I was just like, "What are you watching?" He's like, "Oh, Bigfoot." And I looked at my ex-wife and I was like, "Bigfoot," and she's like, "He likes it," and I was like, "That shit ain't real," or whatever, blah 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 blah. And I sat and I would end up sitting and watching it with him occasionally.
Yeah.
And then I had an experience with what I thought was a demon, but then I started hearing more Dogman story, so I think it might have
Oh, the
been a
dog man.
Dogman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Mhm,
don't know if
mhm.
it was. I couldn't tell.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so it was him watching that show and him talking about Bigfoot that got me more interested in looking into the topic. And so
That's
now I'm
nice.
like full on believing.
See, that's great, Kevin, because you didn't shut him down and you allowed yourself to learn from your son, which is wonderful. I mean, that's a huge thing right there. So that's great that you did that. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I didn't look at it as like a good thing in that moment. Not good or bad. Like I didn't look at it in a good or bad
Yeah.
light. It was just being
Well, you were
having
a
something
non-believer.
to right.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
something that my son liked and that I didn't
Yeah.
believe, but I wasn't
Right.
gonna deter him from believing in it or whatever. And it's just like with religion. I didn't never
Mhm.
talk to them about, I never forced anything onto them. I never was like, don't believe in God or
Yeah.
anything like that. And
Right. Right.
now we all believe in God
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
So it's
Good.
just that
That's great.
I never put any walls up for my kids. So
That's great. And I mean, and not only are you giving a gift to your kids, you're giving it to yourself. And, you're allowing things to be a possibility,
mhm.
and that's wonderful. When, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know, you'd shut that right down, make your kid turn the channel, that type of thing. So that's great. I mean, that's growth right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My grandfather was one of those realists.
Yes.
If it was on TV, it had to be something that could actually happen in his mind anyway,
Yeah.
or he didn't want to watch it. So he didn't like my mom liked the Twilight Zone,
Oh, yeah.
and my grandfather was not about that. He didn't like aliens or anything like that. So
Yeah.
growing up going over to his house, it was always westerns and stuff like that. I mean, not saying that he doesn't like modern movies and stuff like that, but he's just more of like,
More
I don't think
mainstream.
that, yeah, he's like, if it can't happen in real life, I don't want to watch it. And I was
Exactly.
like,
Yeah. No, I
everything could
know.
happen in real life, Grandpa.
Exactly, exactly. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. That's true. But a lot has changed, I think, for humanity, where I think we're all, all of us are growing and
Mhm.
evolving, I think, in the right direction, hopefully less hate and more forgiveness and more kindness, all of that. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of people
yeah.
that are breaking down like generational trauma
Yes.
and stuff like that these
Yes,
days.
yes, that is huge. And oh my God, that is huge. And I think a lot of it in the last 10 years or so, that has really been the case where people are really trying to, yeah, stop the continuing cycle of whatever negativity is there in the family. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, my dad was, not to talk shit about your dad, because I'm pretty sure you listened to this, but he was very complacent. He was present, but he wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If
Oh
that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it does.
Um, and he wasn't good, he wasn't bad. um but his dad was alcoholic and
Mm,
fairly abusive and stuff like that. And then
mhm.
so my grandfather's dad, he never met his actual father, and from what I know of anyway. And then the guy that he took the last name of, I don't know anything about him, but I don't even know if he was actually present throughout his life either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my from what I know of, my grandfather didn't have a male role model, and then he was also native and lived on the reservation, and
Wow.
the surrounding area didn't treat the natives very well, as far as I know. I don't know for sure, but there is
Wow.
a lot of stories of abuse or negativity towards tribal members in that area, and still is
Wow.
today too, surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Towards Native Americans.
Yes. Yep.
Oh my God. I thought that was conquered years ago. I mean, I thought that was, I can't believe that that still goes on.
Yeah, it's weird. My dad tells me stories of because my dad's half white. Um, his mom, my grandmother was French, and yeah, I think she was French, just
Wow,
French.
you are definitely a
Uh,
mixing bowl.
yeah, yeah. So he told me stories of him in school that kids would pick on him because they thought he was Middle Eastern.
Oh, because of his skin color.
So
And
yeah,
he
so
kind of looked,
he
he
was
looked,
dark,
yeah,
but he grew facial hair.
yeah, yeah.
So because natives
Oh,
don't really grow facial hair, so
right.
he had the dark skin and he had my grandmother's curly hair, and
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Wow.
and facial hair, so people thought he was like Pakistani or
Yeah, exactly.
Iraqi or something like that. So he said he was getting into fights all the time because people were thinking that he was was Middle Eastern and would start fights with him. So
That's horrible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It is.
Kids
A
can be pretty
lot
neat.
yeah, a lot of kids when I was growing up thought I was Cuban.
Really?
Yeah, they thought the way they would ask me, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people when they think that I'm some type of Hispanic, um, they say, "Kevin, are you a spick?" Like
Oh,
that, and I'm like,
I
"Excuse
haven't
me."
heard that word in so long. Oh my
I
God, that's
know.
horrible.
I go, what if I was Hispanic and you just
Oh
fucking
my
said that shit to
God.
me? Are you fucking?
Well,
What's
first of all,
wrong
you
with
don't
you?
look Cuban. You don't look Cuban to me.
I don't think I do either,
Oh my
but
gosh. But who cares if you are? And yeah, exactly. If you were, why would you say that? Oh my God, that's horrible. Did you grow
hmm
are you or do you live in Maine?
yes, yeah,
You live in Maine. Okay.
yeah,
Have you lived in Maine all your life?
yes.
Okay.
I
All right.
lived
Is it very
in
rural?
most of it, but where I'm
Yeah.
at, not really, no. We do
Okay.
have a lot of, it is a mixing bowl in the part that I am. So
Oh,
everybody's experienced other races and stuff like that. But the weird thing is that one of my friend's mothers who dated black guys was one of the people that was like, "Are you a spick?"
oh
And I'm
good
sorry
God.
that I keep saying that word. I've said it twice now. Probably should just stop saying it. But like, so what this is
Oh my
what people
God,
said to me.
that's horrible. Oh my God.
And then I was in Kennybunk too one time, and it was summer, so I had a pretty good tan on, and
Oh,
I had my hat, my sunglasses, I had a white t-shirt, and I had shorts on, and then I had slides on with knee-high socks on. And I was getting ready to go. I went
stereotype.
into the coffee shop. Yeah, I went into the
Yep.
coffee shop, got an iced coffee, and I was coming out, and this group of
Jeez.
kids was driving by, and one of them sticks his head out the window and goes, "Why don't you get back to Mexico?" And then they speed off, and I was like, "What the
Oh my God. That's horrible. Oh my God. Even in this day and age, like that's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's pretty interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
one of the kids was black in the car.
It's so sad. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So, um,
Yeah.
anyways, go way
Yeah, I
off
know,
the
but we could
medium
talk about
topic.
all of this all day long. I could talk
I
about this
could,
stuff all day long.
I
Yeah.
could. It's but yeah, no, I'm really glad for this my generation and the generation of our kids and so on and so forth, just because a lot of it is just a lot of us are breaking that trauma, and we're being not necessarily better parents, but more present parents for
Yes.
our children.
Exactly. And learning like how I was brought up is, not the best. And so I learned from that, like, oh my God, I don't want to give that off. I don't want to be that type of person. And so, that's wonderful that somebody can recognize that and know that they don't want to be that and to be cognizant. Because sometimes you will repeat something that you have been taught as a child, not knowing that you're doing that, and once you become aware of it and stop, that's a lot of healing. It's a lot of
Hmm.
healing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like my mother is kind of childish in the way that she raised us. You know, I forgive her, but like as a dad, I don't. Um
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. Right. Right.
so um but I still love her. She's my mom. I think
Right.
she did her the best with what she had. Um and
Yes.
it's one positive thing that I can say about my mother for sure is she's never deterred me from things that I like. She never, I
That's
mean,
good.
she didn't give me she didn't help or give me tools to extend anything or to like
Hmm.
go anywhere with it, but she also never she was very supportive about my drawing and my writing and stuff like that. That was
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool
good.
of her.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, and this took me many, many years to learn. You know, if you have a bad childhood, you could have a grudge and hate your parents. But then, as I was getting older and through many years of therapy, um, they didn't have the best upbringing either. And
Yeah.
so I learned to, you know what I mean? So I was
Hmm.
looking at them like, oh my God, they're only living the life that they were taught. So then I start feeling empathy. And so I feel bad for them. And so then it was easier for me to forgive what was done or what was not done.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing too, is to be able to get to that point as well.
Yeah, when I was going through therapy a couple of years ago, and you know we were talking about my childhood and stuff like that, and I came to the realization that you know I was never actually disciplined, and that probably is what caused a lot of strife in myself as a young adult, and why I got into trouble so much is
Mm,
I was never really disciplined. I was just essentially I was just beat, you know.
yeah,
And I come to the realization too that my mother wasn't shown properly how to deal with her emotion. And that is
yeah,
why it came out a
exactly.
lot of the way that it did. Because as soon as she was angry, it was,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
so
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Well, good for you for becoming who you've become. Good for you.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Um, so one question that I love asking people is, are you finding fulfillment in what you're doing now?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I'll tell you what. Um, I absolutely I have never well, I've never done drugs. But I have never the high that I get in these readings and not not making people cry, but helping them to heal or helping them to feel good or helping in some way is so rewarding to me. It's absolutely amazing. And um, you know, I don't know. I mean, if I could just reach the world in this, or if we could all reach this together and be shown all of this together, there would be so much more healing and love going around. But yes, I it's so rewarding to me to be able to do this. For people, absolutely. That's the reason why I do it. It's the reason why I do it.
Nice, nice. Um, do you
Yeah.
have a website and stuff that people can reach out to you or anything like that?
I, I have a Facebook. Yeah. Medium
Okay.
underscore Lynette underscore Albert. I have that and Instagram as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'll definitely link those in the show notes so people that are interested can reach out to you. But I wanted to ask what has been what has been the most eye-opening experience, whether it's with doing a reading for somebody or just in your within your personal life? What has been your most like eye-opening experience to everything?
Wow.
Or within yourself, like that showed you something about yourself?
Um, God, I think it's yeah, I think it's that no reading is the same. Everything is so different, and to be able um for the loved ones that come through for because see, to me, when I give a reading, it is so personal. I don't know you, I don't know anybody, okay? And for me to delve into very personal, you know even some things you might even talk to your therapist or doctor about, and it's so honoring. Like, I'm very honored, and I do not take it lightly. I have high respect for that, and I thank everybody after, like, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. And I honor all of it. And but for them to be able to show me and bring me into the space that the ones that have died and the ones that are living, the relationship, the private space of both of them is just beautiful. Like, I'll never forget, I did one reading, and sometimes I would go to their house to give a reading, and I was driving, and her son came through and was talking to me. And so anyway, I got there, I did the reading. It was absolutely wonderful. She gave me a tour of her home. I mean, I was 2 minutes away from being in her will. I'm just joking. But afterwards, when I was driving home, he thanked me. He said, thank you. He thanked me for that. And I it just brought tears to me. And just to be able to do that is eye-opening. I never would have thought to experience something like that. And it's just, I don't know. Every reading I give is eye-opening to me, because I never know what I'm going to what communication is going to transpire.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Oh man. So Lynette, I really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
I really am happy that you gave us your time to talk about your not only
Thank you.
your experiences, but your gifts and the some of the other things that we discussed today. Time is our greatest currency, and the fact that you chose to spend this hour or so with me means a lot to me.
No, thank you. I appreciate it too. And to all your followers that are listening, I appreciate your time as well.
Thank you. Well, so with that, for the listeners, if you don't mind, following, sharing, and subscribing, all that helps the show. Definitely reach out to Lynette if you're interested in readings or learning more about her. Please, if your podcatcher doesn't allow you to leave a rating and review, consider doing so on the website, where the weird ones are podcast.com. That is also where you can get hot sauce merch, like the shirt behind me.
I saw that. It's pretty cool.
Over here. And there's a whole bunch of other designs too, if you guys are interested in checking that out, and short stories as well, coffee and supplements. So yeah, if you guys don't mind just helping share the show, and if you decide not to do that, then that's all good, because I'm just happy to have you here. All right, everybody, remember, bye. Question everything and stay weird.
In the quiet of the night, when the world feels far, there's a voice through the static, like a falling star. It calls the misfits, the dreamers, the ones who see the shadows in the corners, the truth we barely believe. From the pine tree woods to the desert skies, they talk of ghosts and aliens with wonder in their eyes, not afraid to ask the questions that others won't dare. 'Cause the world gets strange when you stop and stare. Come gather around where the weird ones are, by the fireside glow or a midnight car, where the stories run deep and the secrets fly like owls in the dark or stars in the sky. If you've ever felt lost, like you don't belong, you found your place, you found your song, right here where the weird ones are. They'll talk of cryptids, time slips, and deja vu, of spirits that linger and what might be true. But more than the monsters, it's the people you'll find who dare to be open with curious minds. It's not about fear, it's the thrill of the ride, to question the world with wonder as guide. So pull up a chair, let your freak flag fly, we're the seekers of truth beneath the sky. Yeah, come gather around where the weird ones are, on the moonlit thoughts and cosmic scars, where the veil feels thin and the questions burn, and we chase the strange at every turn. You're not alone, not in the dark, you're with a tribe. You found the spark right here where the weird ones are. For the ones who wonder, for the ones who know, welcome home.